And good evening, and welcome to the Icecast Live with me, Shane Chebsey, all on my lonesome. Because I guess it's Easter, and the other guys have got lives and families, and they're doing Easter things. So it's just me tonight hosting. So I hope everyone else is having a good time at this time of year, and enjoying the festivities. Me, I'm hard at work, preparing for lots and lots of things, including obviously Ice in September, Comic Salopia in June, and of course, I've just had a successful Kickstarter with Hadrell. So yeah, that's keeping me pretty occupied. And of course, Icecast Live tonight. I'm really happy to be welcoming Sue Hadrell and Ian Richardson from the Lawless Comic Convention. There, from the other side, another convention, I hear you say. Well, here at ICE, we're pretty cool about that sort of thing. We like to promote any convention that is talking about comics, that concentrates on comics, and Lawless concentrates on British comics, which is even better. So we're really happy to have these guys on tonight. The event is sponsored by the 77. Our friends over at 77 Publications, who also have a Kickstarter out, actually, which I think is ending today. So if you've not gone and pledged for Pandora yet, then you really need to do so, because it is a lovely looking book. So without any further ado, because Sam's not here, I'm gonna be very awkward now and play the video, and then I'm going to introduce our guests. And welcome back to the Icecast Live. And welcome, Sue and Ian. Good evening to you both.
Hello.
Hi, good to be here.
Thanks for having us on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. And did you notice, Ian, you are in the intro of the show? Did you see that?
I did just notice that. I feel very important now. I even know exactly when that picture was taken.
Indeed. 2017, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
When you were at ICE. For one of the many occasions that you were at ICE.
Once or twice.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure to have you there, mate. Always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I do. I always enjoy it. And as a segue, I'm looking forward to enjoying Lawless this year.
See? You're doing my job for me, mate.
I know.
And it's my pleasure also to welcome you, Sue, onto the show. A warm welcome to Icecast Live.
Thank you very much. No, it's good to finally connect and meet up and say hello to you, because we've known each other for a while and never actually said hello, have we?
I know, it's a funny thing, isn't it? This whole online thing. You can have quite good relationships with people, for a long time and never actually see them. It's really nice to put a face to the name, as it were.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how are things going on the prep for Lawless? You're not long to go now. The dates are, I believe, the 28th and 29th of May. Is that right?
You got it, yeah, 28th, 29th of May. So we always try and do it the last bank holiday in May. That's generally the weekend we try and choose. But of course, it's all moved along because of the Queen's Jubilee. So we're still doing it the 28th to 29th. Then everyone gets the bank holiday a weekend later. So just to complicate matters. But no, we're doing really well. We got about just over 6 weeks to go. I've just had the program design come back today, which is looking very nice, and that's going to be our centerfold of our comic program that the 77th are designing, which I'm very excited about.
Brilliant.
I can't believe that's going to be it's the first time anything like that's happened. We've had some really good programs over the year, but this is kind of topping the cake at the moment. It's quite impressive. So we now know the plan of action for the day and who's going to be doing what talks and who's going to be talking to who and all that kind of stuff. So that all be revealed in a few weeks' time with a bit of luck, and we'll get that announced and everything.
Fantastic.
Going well.
Could you give us a little preview, like examples of some of the events that might be will be happening at the convention?
Obviously our big guest this year is Brian Bolland. We're very, very
Yeah.
pleased that he's decided to come to the show this year. So we would like to make use of him as much as possible. So he's going to be doing there's going to be a panel with him and some of the others on the Saturday, first thing Saturday morning, and then there'll be a spotlight interview with him on Sunday morning as well. So we're going to get him up on the stage and have a good chinwag with him about his work and his history and stuff like that, which will be lovely. And one of the other big main ones that we're doing is the Wagner auction. John Wagner's very, very kindly donated the 1995 screenplay, or one of the 95 screenplays that he was asked to cast his eye over and provide comments on the Stallone Dread film in 1995. So we got a letter to the director with his comments and also a copy of the screenplay to auction off with a few other goodies and bits and pieces. So we're having a bit of an auction at the end of the day, which is going to be fabulous.
Fantastic. And that's going to be interesting to read that. That little insight into John's thoughts on the movie.
He emailed me saying, I've got this and it's yours if you want to auction it off to raise money for the show. And I was like, that'll be amazing. Tell me a little bit more about it. And there's a whole letter with his comments on the scripting and stuff like that. I'm not going to give anything away. I don't know huge amounts about it, but suffice to say it's probably not positive.
Well, it'll be honest. If I know John, it'll be honest. I mean, you've got some great guests, haven't you? I mean, obviously you've spoken about Brian Bolland there, John Wagner, absolute legends. Some bloke called Ian Richardson.
I don't know who you've never met him before. I mean, is he all right?
Sounds like a right chancer.
And how did you get involved, Ian? Was it an invite out of the blue, or have you been planning to be here for a long time?
That I kind of have to thank a few kind of 2000 AD fans I've known over the years, and Sue very kindly put on the Lawless Facebook page a little bit of a poll together, asking people who they'd like to see as guests.
Always a good idea.
And a few very
how I fish for everything. What do you guys want? Okay.
Yeah. Basically, make my life easier.
Yeah, choose for me. Yeah.
And a few people very kindly mentioned my name.
Oh, isn't that nice?
And then I had a message out of the blue from Sue, which was very, very nice surprise. And I think it took me all of about 10 seconds to say yes.
That's good. It's always good. It's always good. It's always good that you know what the show is. I'm not out of the blue, like, by the way, I do this thing. Would you be interested? And you're going.
I think the message went something along the lines of, irrespective of the fact that we were already friends on Facebook, I got this message saying, "I'm not sure if you know me. My name's Sue, and I organise Lawless." And I think my reply went something along the lines of, "Everybody knows who the mighty Sue Hadrell is."
That's a good one, isn't it? Mighty. It's nice to be.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's going to be my title on the day. I'm going to get just a badge made up. Just
Absolutely.
The Hadrell.
And Ian, for those who don't know you, perhaps, I mean, we've got a few watching tonight. I'm assuming everyone will, but. Just what's your background? Where do you come from in terms of comics, and what do you do? Where have you worked?
In terms of comics, actually, in a funny way, it's full circle, because I've been doing this 20 years now.
Wow.
With a few years off to being a pro musician, that was a good idea.
Be a rock star.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you play?
Yeah.
Cool.
I know. I've seen the evidence.
I see a band coming on here. I see a band.
Look at that. That's proper musicians there. What do you do? So 20
to everyone
years
else,
ago,
those things mean completely different things.
Absolutely. Like,
it's like, what are they saying?
Yeah, people are logging on and going, what?
Yeah, just coming on to see you going
weirdos. Yeah, it's this like it's Bill and Ted all of a sudden.
I was just thinking that was totally a Bill and Ted thing.
Yeah, and 20 years ago, and proud to say my first professional gig was 2000 AD.
Cool.
Excellent foot in the door.
Sinister Dexter, fully
Awesome.
laundromatic.
Wow, that is going back, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I remember getting those issues, actually, the early Sinister Dexter issues.
Yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
was a regular 2000 fan back then.
Yeah.
I pretty much got every issue back in the day, and it was a good period, actually.
I got 2000 AD from issue 1 when I was.
Did you?
Far
You still got it?
Far
you still got your copy? No.
Unfortunately, when I was far too young to be reading it, but
Nah.
That's how everyone got into it.
Yeah.
You're reading this, here, read this.
Mm-hmm.
I think, when you're a certain age, you want a comic, don't you, that's above what's aimed at you. When you're 12, you don't want to be reading comics aimed at 12-year-olds. You want to be reading comics aimed at 18-year-olds.
I think that's part and parcel of it as well. I think a lot of regular comic readers tend to read above their age anyway.
Yeah.
So you do that exactly as you said. You're up a step a little. So when I shouldn't be, yes, I'm reading 2000 AD.
But it's great, isn't it? And you're rebelling in a way. It's like, because 2000 AD, like for me, when I was sort of pretty young when I started reading it, it was like an act of rebellion. And the magazine itself was a rebellious comic, wasn't it? It had that air of rebellion about it. And I remember thinking,
have a sort of heavy metal kind of feel to it, like
yeah.
kind of feel to it. Like you're one of the cool kids because you listen to the thing that the other kids don't.
That's
absolutely.
I don't know about you guys, but I remember the first time I read 2000 AD, I felt like I was doing something naughty. Do you know what I mean? I was like, this is a bit naughty. This is like, these characters, they're not very nice, are they? Like Judge Dredd wasn't a very nice guy, Like I was used to reading like Spider-Man and Daredevil, and it's like, these are lovely guys, they're heroes, and then you read Judge Dredd, and it's like, he ain't very nice. He's quite mean. I like this. It's a great experience as a youngster to read something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. And very often as you kind of coming into that age of being a pain in the ass to everybody.
Are you a teenager?
It appeals to everybody, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
And what's your background, Sue? How did you get into comics?
Oh God! So I got into comics. My comic growing up was Tank Girl. Lancing Library. I'm a massive Tank Girl fan. I have been for a really long time, and that was Lancing Library, and exactly the same thing. Graphic novels that looked a bit too adult that I should be reading with boobs on the front. And I'm like, and a massive tank running over somebody. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna read the crap out of that. So that was my introduction into it. I didn't actually get to 2000 AD or read much 2018 many years later. And the reason I got into the comic side of things was more because I actually happened to know a bunch of guys dressed up as judges. So I was really into cosplay and Comic Con and stuff like that. But I'm a book reader generally, and I'm a writer, so I write prose. So I find script writing stuff like that very, very hard. But actual comic wise, primarily I'm a Tank Girl fan. And I got into 2000 AD and Dread and all that side of things because I knew a whole bunch of cosplayers who were like, I want to do a thing. We want to get together and we want to meet our artists. And I went, yeah, I can organise that. Let's do that. So we did.
Fantastic.
Well, that's cool in itself, isn't it? In another way into the medium and stuff. Because I think, Shane, you probably kind of came into it in a very similar way as I did, and you kind of reading the comics from the newsagent as a kid.
Yeah, definitely.
And the parents bought me those black and white Marvel reprints.
They were great.
And then I was Beano and Bunty were mine in my newsagent ones. You didn't get 2000 AD or anything like that in my newsagents. It was the Beano, the dandy, and then later on it was Bunty and all the girly ones that I liked.
See, this is how I can lay the blame fairly and firmly and squarely at my parents' door. They were buying me the black and white sort of Marvel reprint stuff, and then 2000 AD first issue. Here, I bought you this. I feel like you might like this as well. Clearly, having not looked inside. And yeah,
that's the great thing, isn't it, about comics back then? It's like they could be quite adult in content, and your parents just wouldn't have a clue. It's like,
No
it's just a
clue at
comic.
all, yeah.
There you go. Read that. It'll be fine.
It's boring, it'll be
Yeah, I'm
okay.
sure. What harm could possibly happen to our dear little boy sat in a corner reading on his own?
And then, of course, that develops, I assume, into drawing. I mean, was that how you got into doing art? Was through reading comics, or was it from somewhere
Pretty
else?
much, yeah. I'd always drawn as a kid anyway, and
Yeah.
then as soon as I started to read comics, that was pretty much all I drew.
Mm.
And then stopped doing it for a while, and then went on to become a sort of professional graphic designer and stuff, and worked at that for far too many years until one day going, I'm just not enjoying this anymore.
Yeah.
What can I do that I'm reasonably good at that I can enjoy? I know. I'll give this a go.
And was it a hard road at the start, Ian? Did it take a while to sort of find your way?
Probably with rose tinted glasses, it doesn't seem like that. I mean, I will initially admit to wanting to just be an inker when I started.
All right.
Just because I figured that was easier.
A lot of people make that mistake.
Yeah. How wrong was I?
Yeah.
And I can even remember at UCAX showing Alan Davis my inking work.
Ooh.
And it going really well, actually.
Yeah. You did well.
And
he doesn't pull any punches out.
No, not at all. And him saying, sorry, I can't do anything with you. I've got a long-standing agreement with this guy called Mark Farmer.
Which is still standing. Yeah.
Yeah. And the annoying thing is Mark Farmer lives 5 minutes from me now. Swine.
Of course, he's just up the road, isn't he? Yeah. He's not
we've got this little sort of Birmingham triangle, quadrangle and stuff that I can, within 10 minutes, I can get to Mark Farmer, John McRae, Ian Edgington, and Phil Winslade.
I was going to say there's Phil as well, isn't there? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people in Birmingham, actually. I understand, Sue, that when you first started the convention, it was based in Birmingham, yeah?
It was. Yeah. So I knew the guy that ran Eddie's Rock Club. And yeah, for it all. Yeah, I know. Place of my heart, definitely. So I knew Colin, who ran the place, and I can't remember. We got chatting, and he offered the place out for to rent the place for a day, basically, and it sort of all came together that we were going to decide I was going to do a convention because of all the judge guys that I knew. So our first show was about 60 people, and we broke even, and we had about 6 artists at the place in Birmingham. And it went off without a hitch. It was a really, really good day. But then the place shut down literally about 2 months later. The whole place shut down. He got booted out of the working man's club that he was allowed to use. And they got sorted in another nightclub elsewhere, but it meant I had to choose a new venue. I didn't find anywhere that I found particularly suitable for what I wanted it for in Birmingham. It was very, very pricey, like a one room for silly amounts of money.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
I go to a writers' convention in October called Bristol Con, and I know the guys that run that, and they were like, well, let me put you in touch with the guys that run the Doubletree and we'll see what we can do. So I essentially stole their idea and their layout and knocked it out for Lawless, and got a deal on the rooms and the convention rooms that they use and stuff like that, and it's been there ever since. It's a really, really good venue to use because it's nice and enclosed, and they do all the setup and everything for me, and it just has the right amount of people. It just holds just the right amount of people and the right amount of artists, and it's a lovely venue.
And they are well versed in comic conventions.
Yeah, that's just what I was about to say. Not anything against Birmingham, obviously, but like Bristol's got this long comic convention history as well, hasn't it?
A really nice history, yeah. I mean, I remember going to the first Comics 99 that Kev F.
The rail shed stuff. And...
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah. No, I'd not been to many of those at all, you see. So I heard about this all later. They're going, oh, you're opening that up? And again, I'm like, no, I'm doing a little bit different, but it's still cool.
You've got to do your own thing, though, haven't you, Sue? And I noticed, the branding for your background there is lovely. And the branding and the logo and the way you present the show is exceptionally professional. I'm really impressed by that. Is that all you're doing, or do you have a graphics person?
My graphics guy is a chap called Dave Shires, who's based over in Ireland. And again, one of those networking things. He was a friend of a friend who got put in touch with me. And this year we wanted to do a bit of a rebrand on it and then sort of lock it into place so that will be the same. So this logo is the one that we'll use going forward, kind of thing. And it won't change. Maybe the backgrounds and the colors will change, but that'll be the same font, kind of thing. So he does all the posters and all the online sort of headers and stuff like that. He's really, really good. And every time he comes to me with stuff, I very rarely have a criticism. It's very rare for me to go, nah, I don't like it. Every time he sends me stuff, I'm like, yep, that'll do nicely. Bang on.
Yeah.
So he's got a really nice idea for I quite like this kind of grungy feel of the kind of industrial feel about it, of that sort of roughness about it, and the textures, and not I didn't want it to look comic-y, but I wanted it to look sort of bright, or bright enough and stuff. I wanted it to look kind of industrial and dread kind of thing, but without looking
spot on.
And it's knocked out apart for
it. And obviously, when you first started, it was very much 2000 AD convention, wasn't it? But recently, you've broadened that into what is more of a British convention. What was your thinking behind that? Was it to make it more inclusive?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So it had been always Lawgiver. And then we'd had to stop doing Lawgiver. Rebellion asked us to not do Lawgiver in 2016 because they had the 40th anniversary. And then we ran it again in 2017, 18 and 19. And I think it was in 19 that we decided to change the name of it and broaden it out a little bit more. And then John W. got in contact with me to say about Carlos Esguerra, and to do a tribute to him. So we it's always been very I think it's always going to be very Dread and 2000 AD centric because that's our audience, very much so. But I did want to broaden it out because, again, I'm a Tank Girl fan. I'd love to have the Tank Girl creators on board. We know enough Beano guys. There's Commando. There's people who've worked on stuff that's not DC and Marvel based in the UK. That would be really nice to highlight and look at the history of and stuff like that. You look at David Roach, who's done lots of Doctor Who stuff historically, and that we don't, anything like that is really, really good to just kind of highlight and say this is what else is going on as well. So it just seemed the kind of natural progression, really, to do something but not turn it into a big LFCC style MCM con kind of comic con, and also not something that's solely focused on the big, big Marvel DC kind of names. You kind of you find a niche and people like that niche, and
I think that kind of appeals to people then, because you can choose between 1 million and 1 MCMs or LFCCs or whatever. But Lawless is something a bit different for everybody, and that's what people want. And it's appealing to the things they love, but it's not this big soulless kind of thing.
It's very focused, isn't it? And even though you have broadened it, I think it's got an identity. That's the thing. It's even though you could say yes, it's all British comics, but it's definitely got an identity. It helps with the branding, obviously. But when people come to Lawless, I think they know what they're going to get. I mean, I've not been yet, but I have a good idea of what I'm going to get when I get there, and I know I like that. And I think people know what they like, don't they?
It's very much a good excuse for a lot of people to get together that haven't seen each other very much. One of my big things is it's very much about community, and that's not just for the ticket holders, that's for the artists as well. We got a whole bunch of artists who come along year on year because it's a good excuse for them to say hello to each other because they haven't seen each other in 6 months to a year or so. And a lot of our repeat guys come back just for a drink with each other and stuff like that. And also they meet their fans, but they meet their fans on a much more one-to-one basis. And it's not just a passing signing, thanks, see never kind of thing. There's a lot more sort of community to it and connection, relationship to it. What's the other one? Eric Peterson's who's coming this year, who's a chap that I only met a few years back. He's from America. I didn't realize this at the time until the very end of the day when a whole bunch of us were sort of sat having a pint kind of thing. This chap flew over from America just to come to my tiny little show because he'd heard about it. And then off the back of that, chatted to a whole bunch of artists at the show because he wants to produce his own comic. He produced Space Bastards off the back of it. That's all from just networking and getting to know artists and stuff and getting their contact details and then flying back to America and then putting it all together. And I'm like, that was because of Lawless, man. The 77 are the same. The 77's creators because a whole bunch of guys got together at Lawless and were like, let's do a thing. And
it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's lovely when that happens.
I hadn't had the chance to mention it to Sue or anything, but I've got a bunch of friends coming over from Amsterdam for the show this year.
Awesome.
That's cool.
I love
You're
hearing
a
that people
regular
come from
attendee,
flight.
aren't you, at the Amsterdam show, Ian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been very lucky with that, and I really enjoy going over. It's as are most comic fans and stuff wherever we go. They're a good, friendly bunch of people, and you know me, Shane. I don't mind talking to people.
Indeed.
We'll leave that one there.
So I mean, it's nice, isn't it? As you were saying, Sue, you know, that sort of community aspect, it's so important. And also being able to talk to creators as a fan, you know, when you come along,
Yeah.
you put them at the table, and there's not this sort of, like, as you say, conveyor belt thing.
Yeah,
That's
there's
really
no move along
important as
now.
well.
Yeah, although there might be a little bit with Brian Bolland this year. I'll be honest, we've had to kind of strictly not on. Please don't bring trolleyfuls of crap for you to sign and stuff like that. Give a little bit of a break.
Well, Brian doesn't do many conventions, does he? So it's you know, it's understandable that people are going to really want to see him, get signatures and all the fan stuff. You know, I mean, I think I saw Brian once at a convention in London, and that's the last time I think I saw him at one. So
I think he was at the 40th anniversary, so I think that was the last one. I'm wrong, but yeah, that might be the last one he did. So yeah, no, I was really pleased to finally get in touch with him and say hello and introduce myself. And yeah, I was very, very pleased that I think he's coming along again for that same reason that there's a few other people he knows that are there that he hasn't caught up with in a while, and he gets to say hello to them. So it's for his benefit as well, I think, just to catch up with lots of people.
Yeah, and it can snowball, can't it? You know, like one guest comes, then someone wants to come and see them, and then another guest will come because of that. You know, we've had that happen before. You know,
I was just kind of going to say that, and I think you do props undersell Lawless itself a little bit as well, and the reputation it's got. I mean, like, Brian's not going to say yes to any Tom, Dick, or Harry, is it?
No,
so
not.
Kind of the reputation that, as I say, Lawless has itself, and by extension Sue, is a reason for him to say yes.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's not something I see that side of very often. A lot of it's me just sat behind my PC networking with people and sending stuff out. And yeah, you don't hear the background noise. You don't kind of get the gossip or anything like that in the background, or so and so said this, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
See, somebody's just posted, Matthew Ellis has just posted in the comments to say Brian didn't do the 40th. He did a signing at the Cursed Earth Uncensored way back. So this is a bit of a Lawless coup.
Bit of a coup. I need to get into the comments, actually. I was so busy chatting with you guys, I haven't read out any of the comments.
I'm sure they don't mind.
So I'm going to go through some comments now, guys.
Go for it.
So Matthew Ellis, Bolland. That's his comment.
That's what you need to say. Yeah.
Say no more. Steve Bull, who we all know.
Hi, Steve.
Good Steve Bull.
Lawrence Allison, I'm sure we are all imagining John's comments.
Oh, what, on the scripting? Yeah,
Go back to the script.
I can't wait to see that. Like, I get first dibs on look at reading that. I'm very excited.
Andy Hayes, hello peeps. Met Ian and Shane at Ice Birmingham 2019. This year will be my first visit to Lawless, so damn looking forward to it. Excellent.
We've got a lot of first timers coming this year, actually. I mean, we definitely have an audience that comes year in, year out. But yeah, there's quite a few first timers. Given that we haven't held the show for a couple of years as well, it's nice to know that people are still hearing about it, and we get a lot of first timers coming.
You know what it is? It's because that Richardson guy's there for the first time.
Oh, that's true.
That's what it is.
He might be
nothing to do with Bolland.
No, look. All I'm saying is there's an analogy here. It's Ian Richardson's first time, and a bunch of people are coming for the first time.
Are you just touting tickets on the slide?
Yeah. Strangely enough, there's 40 members of my immediate family coming.
I've been trying to
it's
get my
always-
mum to come like for years, and
Really?
she might actually turn up this year. But I would love my mum to come along because none of my family really have a clue what it is that I do. They just sort of see me posting up about stuff all the time. I'm like,
Isn't
come
that
to
weird?
the show, see the thing that I do because it's quite awesome.
Mhm.
I remember my mum came to one of my shows once, and she brought her friend along. It's a bit of a story, and her friend is the same age as my mum, right? Actually, she's a little bit younger, I think. And my friend Colin Matheson was exhibiting, and he came along, and she introduced herself and said, "I'm Shane's mum." And Colin was like, "Hello, hello, hello."
Who's Shane?
And yeah, I've got new friends. And then he said to my mum's friend, "And is this your nan?" She was not amused.
Really?
A little bit
That does
harsh.
surprise me.
It just cracked me up. And my mum was just like, "Ooh." That was a funny day. So we've got a few more comments here from Lawrence Allison. Bolland, my hero. He sent me a fully inked dread when I was 10 years
Wow.
old. Announced he was working on a new strip called Judge Death. So
That's
incredibly
amazing.
kind. Wow. I must thank him in person at the con.
You're right,
Isn't
yeah.
that nice? That's lovely. I
Absolutely.
love stories like that.
Yeah.
Isn't it great when a creator does something special like that for a fan? It's just,
Yeah.
it has such an impact, doesn't it?
I think a bunch of it comes from a place of creators being,
Fans
even
themselves.
if they're not currently fans, but that's the original place they came from. In case you haven't, noticed. Yeah.
No,
Like
very much
that's.
so. They're
I'm trying to do
fans
it in America.
themselves, so they're passing it on, aren't they? They're paying it forward.
Yeah. That's my dread badge that's signed by John and Carlos on the back.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, I don't know. You guys, I miss Carlos so much. When he was going to be a guest at ICE the year he passed away, and obviously he wasn't. And I remember hearing the news and just
it was
such
a shock.
blow.
Yeah, I've never met him at all. Yeah, we a couple of times tried to get him over, but didn't quite have the budget to get him across into the UK. And at the time, and so I'd never got the chance to meet him. So it was an honour to do the tribute to him and see all the original artwork and have John get in contact with him. That was an absolute honour.
I had a very lovely couple of hours a few years ago. I went over, Paul Trimble very well, Shane. And Paul invited me over to the Inner Skilling show. And it was actually part 2 of the 40th anniversary. Rebellion had said they could kind of do something like that.
Right. Cool.
So on the Friday, I'd flown over on the same flight as John. And we picked up at the hotel, picked up at the airport, got taken to the hotel. As soon as we got the car at the hotel, John went, "Right, I'm just going to go and drop my bags. Carlos is already here. Do you want to come to the pub?"
Yes.
So
I'll think about that, John.
Yeah. So the three of us just went to this random little tiny Irish pub on a Friday afternoon for about 2 hours. And
sounds great.
The pair of them together, it's like Morecambe and Wise.
Little double act.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a
amazing,
nice little special thing I got to enjoy.
My best John story is our first Lawgiver that we did in Birmingham, because it was my first ever time doing a show or anything like that at all, ever. Like, I'd never done nothing like it at all. So I'd never really spoken to any. We had 6 artists, and I'd never really spoken to any of them at all before. I didn't quite understand their significance. I just knew people liked them, so it was very much me just being an organizer and putting people in touch. So I didn't quite grasp the significance, but I knew John was a big pull. I knew he was very popular, and people were really pleased to see him there. So it was important for me to make sure he was happy for the day and he had everything he needed and stuff like that. And we had them all set up in tables at Eddie's and in the area at Eddie's and stuff like that. And about 11:30, 12 o'clock, the place was empty, or the place went really, really quiet. And I'm running around like a headless chicken trying to do everything and understand what was going on. But suddenly it went very, very quiet. And I went downstairs, and John had disappeared, and it completely threw me. I was just like, where's my main guest gone? This is like my first show and my main guest has disappeared. They'd only all buggered off down the pub for 2 hours, hadn't they? And sending me photos going, having a great time, Sue. Cheers. You bastard.
Why am I not surprised?
He's literally just gone, I'm bored of this. I'm going for a pint, and disappeared off. Thanks, John.
Well, they
attack on the first day.
they did it exactly the same at that Inner Skillings show.
You're not supposed to do it in the middle of the show.
No, this was it. So
I feel for you, Sue. I do,
because it was part of the 40th again. They'd hired a small theatre on the Friday evening, so it was like 300 seater and stuff that was selling tickets, and they'd sold like 275 of the 300 tickets, and all it was a panel on stage. And the organisers had set it up that they were going to do an hour with the old guard. So it was like Cam Kennedy and John and Carlos, and I think Michael Carroll went on to kind of oversee it all. Oh, and Alan Grant. Excuse me if I'm missing anybody else. So they were supposed to do the first hour, and then have about a 20-minute break, and then some of the new guys were going to go on. So I was there, and PJ Holden, and Clint Langley, and Michael Carroll was doing it again. But the 2 hours in the pub with Carlos and John carried on, and they were supplying drinks all the time. We were doing the panel. So they did the first hour of the panel, and then they didn't want to come off.
Bring another pint.
So the rest of us that were supposed to go on afterwards, we were just sat in the audience like, yeah, this is fine. I'm all right. You carry
don't
on.
Have to do our bit,
So they must have done, I don't know, maybe hour and 3/4 or what have you on their own, and we went on about 20 minutes at the end.
I suppose if they're enjoying themselves, let them carry on, isn't it?
And I was sat next to the other guest of honour that was Yannick Paquette, and Yannick's kind of going, I don't really know what's going on here. But bless them, yes, very nice memory that.
Oh yeah, thanks for sharing.
Good because John came back the next year, so he
must be doing something right.
Yeah, something right. Yeah, because we're still good friends. So
I mean, John's great, isn't he? I mean, he's so supportive of events. I mean, he's been great for us. I mean, I can't tell you how much he's supported ICE. It's incredible. You know, he's so giving and generous, and such a lovely guy, and so great with the fans. You know, I can't really emphasize enough, really, what a great guy he is.
No, he is awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're doing unfortunately Abby Bulmer's had to pull out the show because she accidentally double booked herself, but we at one point had the whole Rock of the Reds team together, so it was Jim Campbell and Dan Cornwell and John. So we were going to do a proper rock, we're still going to do the panel, we'll do a Rock of the Reds panel, but it would have been nice just to get the whole team like all together finally, doing a Rock of the Reds, because that's a really big thing for him is Rock of the Reds at the moment.
Well, that's his thing. That's his baby now, isn't it? You know, that's, and it's current. You know, that's the thing. That's the other thing as well. A lot of people, you know, forget is that it's still producing a lot of work. You know, he's still very quite prolific
out there.
Yeah. I've got a few more comments. Got quite a few this time.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Good old Ben.
Good old Ben.
Sorry, less of the old. Sorry.
Yeah. From Halleck, darker and better. I'm assuming he's talking about the convention.
Yeah. So, well, no, that comment came up when we were initially talking about the first few issues of 2000 AD. And
cool.
I'm not sure that's
that makes sense there.
See, like I'm multitasking.
Oh, God, I'm just staring at the screen and drinking wine. So
do my job for me here, keeping track of the comments. So from Roy Sharpton and the Savage Albatross.
Eric Peterson, who's our American chap who's coming over this year. He's actually we got him on the guest list officially this year because of using Space Bastards. So yeah,
fantastic. He's put, I miss the community so much.
Very good old bunch.
Lawless very much helped us make Space Bastards. Fantastic. I'm glad that is the title of a comic, not a group of children that were made in space. just
it's a good comic as well. I've got a copy of it, and it's good fun. It's really, really good fun. I got the graphic novel.
I'll have to check it out. I've not encountered it before. From Matthew Ellis, Brian didn't do the tooth. Oh yes, he did a signing at the Cursed Earth. I think we mentioned that already. Hey guys, from Steve Ball. From Matthew, 2016 was the uncensored signing 6 years ago.
Oh wow! So it has been a while since he's done a show, isn't it?
Yeah. Peter Weston, see you on the Sunday, everyone. Really looking forward to meeting you all. Hey, Pete. Got a lot of comments. From Barry Renshaw, I was there at the first Lawgiver in Birmingham. Had a great day sketching away for people. Was there in 2019 in Bristol, introducing the child for the first time to Dread fandom. Gutted, can't make it this year. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Barry.
We'll miss Barry. We'll miss you.
Yeah, definitely. From Steve, Lawgiver was my first con, and it blew me away. Was also the first time I met a lot of Facebook friends in the flesh. Definitely a sense of community, and everyone there was absolutely lovely. Fantastic.
I'm not sure which convention he went to. Half the time we were trying to kick the shit out of each other or throw pints at one another.
Some people like that sort of thing, don't they?
No judges. It's always trying to beat people.
Paul Clammer, really looking forward to my first time at Lawless and very happy to have discovered it just after I moved back to Bristol. Let me know if you need help stacking chairs. There you go.
No, thanks, Paul. Definitely cool with that, but thank you very much.
Another one from Ben. The 2017 Lawgiver was my first, and as an ex-Bristolian, it really felt like meeting my family all over again.
Oh. Your family must be horrendous, man.
Yeah, what sort of family is that?
We're concerned about your family.
Sue's on fire tonight.
Yeah, she is. From Barry, thanks, Sue. Hope to be there for next time. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Definitely.
Good. Barry's a good guy. I've been friends with Barry for, a long, long time since I think I met Barry at 1998 UCAC, the last UCAC. What was it? 97, the last one in London, possibly.
Okay, because then it did the one single one in Manchester after that. London.
Yeah, do you remember that? Did you go to that one?
Did you go to that one?
Yeah, me too. I was sat next to Andy Watson, I think.
When I was knee high to a grasshopper, honest.
And obviously, there's a lot of history, isn't there, in this country of great conventions. Sue, did you experience any other conventions before you did your own? I mean, did you go to other conventions and to see how they did it? Was there anyone that you thought, that's not how I want to do it?
It was not at all. It was the Sci-Fi Weekender. I was back in. Did you know SFX magazine?
Yeah, I was a regular reader of that.
SFX magazine had a forum called the SFX Forum, which I was a member of back in sort of early internet days, where people were starting to chat on forums and stuff like that. And I knew a whole crowd of people on there that were really, really lovely. And then SFX did their first SFX Weekender, so all of the forumites went to that, and we got dressed up and everything. And it was in Arson to nowhere in Wales, and it was brilliant. It was our first proper geek get together of people who like random crap. It was amazing, but it was very much a film and TV kind of sci-fi SFX, but it was fun. That's kind of what I was into, so it was great. But I was into those types of conventions, and then I got into doing cosplay and stuff like that quite a bit, so I used to do costuming up and that, and we did things like MCM and LFCC and all those kinds of conventions and Nine Worlds and stuff like that. And then, because this is all back in sort of 2010, 11, 12, and because I knew all these people that were dressing up and doing cosplay and stuff, we wanted to do geek get-togethers, like Geek Days Out, where you just get people together who are interested in things to do a games day, just hire a place and play games all day for the hell of it, stuff like that. Those were quite sort of successful on a small scale, and I just wanted to go bigger. I wanted to do a convention, but I kind of had it in my head of the layout of it. It wasn't going to be huge. It wasn't going to be MCM style. It was just going to be an excuse to get a whole bunch of people together. It kind of ran from there, and it's just got bigger each year and more successful, and yeah, it's just, that's all where it went from there, really. But I never ever did the old original comic cons that you guys did. Has never been on that. I've never done one of those before, really. I've never been to ICE. I really should probably go to ICE at some point.
Well, you're very welcome in September to come along, Sue. It'd be very nice to see you.
And also, I think that was Sue's polite way of going, I'm not as old as you, pair.
Yeah. I was going to let that slide. You know.
I'm feeling it a bit, I'll be honest.
I wasn't. Not getting away with that one.
And I think that shows, the fact that you're in it for the right reasons, basically. And that makes a big difference. And and the fans pick up on that sort of thing. If you've got a lot of love for what you're doing, and you've got a lot of love for the medium and a lot of love for the fandom, people pick up on that. And your personality is part. Ian was saying before, about how people perceive the show, and I think a lot of that is the personality of the organizer is quite important. Some shows, they don't seem to have a personality because it's very faceless, very corporate, which is fine if that's that's a different type of show.
Absolutely.
It works, yeah. But I think for a small show like the shows that we do, you need to inject yourself into it. You need to be the face of the show. You need to be part of it. And I think it's it's testament to what you've done, that you maybe not realized it. But naturally your personality has gone into that show, and that's part of what people love about it.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely about, like you say, making it personal to everybody and making it just something that they all come together to enjoy as well. Definitely.
Yeah. And so going back to guests, we've spoken about a few. We know you've got Brian Bolland, we know you've got John Wagner, but there are some other pretty big names, aren't there, on your guest list? Do you want to share that with our viewers?
I will. Let me bring the list out and I'll tell you. I can't remember who we got, and I feel guilty for forgetting somebody.
Well, I can tell you the mighty Lou Stringers on the guest list.
I'm so looking forward to meeting him.
Have you never met Lou before?
No, I've not. No, we know each other online, and that's it. We've never actually met before.
He's a lovely man.
The loveliest of chaps.
Yeah, a dear friend, Lou. Lovely guy.
Right, who have we got? So we've got Lou Stringer, Dan Cornwall, Dave Kendall, Keck W, Sally Jane Hurst, John Higgins, Glenn Fabry, Karen Holloway, Simon Davis, Boo Cook, Tom Edglington, Clint Langley, John Wagner, Mick McMahon, Stephen Austin, Eric Peterson, Lee Carter, Brian Bolland, Ian Richardson, Jim Campbell, Anne Morozova, Paul Goodenough, John Charles, Mike Dorey, David Roach, Steve McManus, and Ben Wilshire.
Wow.
All on the list this year, which is huge.
What a great guest list. That is a fantastic guest list. And some lovely people there as well. You've got Steve McManus, ex-Targ, absolute legend. What a great guest. And Mick McMahon. And now he doesn't do many conventions.
He's been to us a few times, actually. We've had him 2 or 3 times. We haven't in the last few years, but he has come before. And this year was kind of, because I'm now getting to the point where I'm having to rotate guests or turn people away and think, okay, you've come 3 in a row. I need to invite somebody else now, kind of thing. So because Mick hadn't been for a while, I sent him out an invite this year because we're getting Brian and Mike Dorey and some of the bigger names. It's good to kind of get the old school boys together to try and do something as well, which is quite cool.
Definitely. And how do you, when you mentioned that about rotating guests, see, that's something I've always had to contend with as well. And I guess we're sort of talking shop a little bit here, but how do you contend with that? Because you always have guests that you pretty much have every year. That's going to happen because they're sort of part of the furniture. They're part of the personality of the show. And so how do you sort of go about keeping it fresh and rotating it? Is it awkward sometimes to say to people, I can't have you this year because you've been...
It feels it, yeah. So I have to turn... Mike Collins has always been a regular and he's done some front covers for us from our programme and stuff like that. And I've had to say, I'm really sorry, I'd love you to come along, but I'm going to have to say no this year because I want to try and get some newer, fresher faces and stuff like that. So, we might have to do that with a couple of the others that are sort of coming year on year. And it's just like, I love you to pieces and everyone loves having you there, but I want to get somebody else in. So there's definitely an element of just but they're always very fine with that. They've got other conventions they go to as well. And there's always another year. There's never any, it's not a you're barred kind of thing.
These guys are professionals. They know the score.
They do know the score. It's very much that. But I think the thing I struggle with personally is I'm an event organizer and not a comic book of knowledge. So I do the fishing exercise where I say, okay, who do you guys want to see this year? And then I have to go and Google the hell out of absolutely everybody, going, okay, who the hell are these people? Because a lot of them are just names, and just I've not read their work, I'm not aware of what it is they've done, and it's like, and there is I suppose a level of hierarchy, a little bit of, okay, so how well known are you, and are you a new face that we want to make? Like Anna is a new face into 2000 AD, and Dan Cornwell was a new face like a couple of years ago, who was a new droid, and now let's look at the stuff he's producing. So you can see he's going to become one of the greats at some point, like that everyone's
definitely. I mean, the stuff Dan's putting out now is absolutely outstanding. It really is.
Isn't it?
Yeah. We have got a visitor on the show. Ollie has decided to turn up.
Hey, Ollie.
McNamee's decided to
I'm going to let him in. Let's see what he has to say for himself, shall we?
Funnily enough, you should mention that as he turns up, I was just going to say I'm going.
I've been checking all week and I haven't seen anything. I've been that busy today. So I thought I'd jump on at least. So no Shane's had a migraine, so I thought I'd ask what your favourite colours were at least.
Puce.
Just that like bright flashing silver.
Well, better late than never, Mr. Matt.
Yes,
I can tell what Sue's favourite colour is. It's that sparkle silver finish you get on a Gretsch kit.
I'll have to send you a picture of my kit. Actually, you'll like my kit. She's beautiful.
Yeah, you know you've got affection for your drum kit when you refer to it by its gender. You know.
Oh yes, her name's Delilah.
Oh,
I love it.
Guitars are always girls.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
she was when I very first started. I've only started playing in 2016, something like that. I was. I've not been playing for years at all. I'm still a learner by drumming standards generally, but I'd always been into music, and my partner's a musician. He's a bassist. And it was always one of the things, I'd never found my instrument. Like I had never stuck playing the bass. I never stuck playing the guitar. I just couldn't find it, kind of thing. And Andy was buying new kit for his bass. He bought himself a new amp and everything. I was like, I really fancy having a go at the drums. And he was just like, that's because you play air drums. You don't play air guitar. You play air drums. And then literally within about 6 months, he'd gone and bought me the kit that I'd seen online that I'd fallen in love with. Like it was like, I want that one. And he was like, okay, then let's get you that one. And that was the end of that, really. And
that's a good guy. I
took to it like a duck's water. It was just like, why have I not learned this years ago? This is the greatest thing ever.
It's never too late. I love that. It's just never too late, isn't it?
Isn't it funny the common ground with a lot of comics people and
music,
a musician as well at the same
Definitely.
time. I suppose it's a creative output, isn't it?
I think so.
Boo Cook's a drummer as well, isn't he? If I remember rightly.
Yeah, there's a lot of us about who are into comics and drum and musicians. And I mean, I'm in a band. For those who don't know,
yeah, with some random comics creators.
Yeah, well, actually, only 2 of us are comics creators now. It was originally all comics creators, but now it's just me and Charlie.
Phil used to do it with you, didn't he? Phil
was in the band, and before me, the original version of the band, Liam was in the band, Liam Sharp, and it's always had comics people in it, but now it is just me and Charlie, and the rest of the guys are sort of non-comics people. But that's cool.
So
that's my next plan. I would like to play. I don't play in a band at all. I play up in my room, to songs on YouTube. So I need to get.
Got to do it. I think you need to form a lawless band, Sue. You need to form a lawless band. That's definitely. There's going to be people with the skills to make that happen at the con. You've got to do it.
Well, we've got the drummer and the bassist, so we need a guitarist, a couple of guitarists, and a singer.
Guitarist there. Ian's a guitarist.
You've had
Ollie, can you sing?
Actually, that's to be fair. You're based in Birmingham, aren't you, Ian?
Yeah.
You should come down to Worcester. We should get together. We should come down to Worcester and get together and do something.
Have a proper jam. Have a proper jam.
See it forming. I can see it forming.
You notice the important thing that happened there from Sue.
Great stuff.
But you've kind of done it before at an ice, haven't you, Shane? Had that Friday night passer.
We did
and
it at
stuff.
Bix. We formed. That's where our band came from
Well, Shane
originally.
loves a bit of karaoke down Margate. He couldn't get it.
Oh dear, man!
Honestly,
I'd just
give him a
as soon
microphone and
forget
you
that
just
one,
can't
mate.
stop him.
Yeah,
was that?
we did.
Was
do
it
that.
an ice show on the Friday, or a big show on the
Well, we did
Friday
the
night
first
opening
ever
party?
Bix. We
The-
formed the giant-sized band thing, which was
Was-
Liam, Phil, Charlie, and Paul Birch, and they did a
Okay.
gig. And Hunt Emerson's band played as well.
Who's that? That America? That DC, was it a DC?
And
editor that played?
Michael Wright's band. Who,
Thank you.
He had the guy out of Dodgy in his band, Skelter. And all three bands played a gig at the first ever
Oh,
Bix
no.
launch party in 2006.
Quality.
It went
what
down
was
a
that,
blinder. It really
was
did.
What was the venue just down off Colmore Road?
Factory, wasn't it?
No, it
Nah.
was.
No.
What's it? It's the name of the street is the name of the bar. It's
It's just
off
just
New
down
Street.
off Colmore Road, isn't it? Sort of
Um,
halfway in between Colmore Road and
Bennett's Bar.
Bennett's Bar.
Bennett's Bar, which used to be a bank, which
Yeah.
I think is now, it's probably closed now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was
Set
a great
up,
venue.
set up in the corner, the stage in the corner.
Yeah, that's it. Were you there, were you, Ian? Were you
Yeah.
that one? Yeah. All right.
He's been everywhere, yes.
Yeah. To be honest, everyone
That's
from the UK
truer
comics
than you know,
industry,
Sue. That's truer than you know.
it was incredible that everyone who was anyone was at that launch party. I have to say.
Awesome.
It was amazing. I mean, it was just a who's who. You know, Dave Gibbons,
Love
Brian
to have Dave Gibbons
Talbot.
with us.
It was unbelievable. It was
Ian
just
Richardson.
Ian Richardson.
Indeed, I've never heard of him.
There.
You keep mentioning this guy.
Um,
I don't know.
Actor guy, House of Cards. Yeah, all right.
I mean, the original, I don't know what you mean. The original one from the 80s.
Yeah,
Fast
that's
and Furious one.
all I get whenever I do a self Google.
What? Tumbleweed.
Yeah, yeah, and that bloke
Was that
from
his
House of
name, was
Cards.
he, the actor?
Say there again, bud.
Was that the actor's name? I forget. It's been that long.
Ian Richardson.
Ian
Right,
Richardson.
yeah. He was
Yeah.
brilliant. wasn't he?
From he's in From Hell as well. He's like
really?
he's
Oh.
Abilene's boss.
What, Johnny Depp?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. Yeah.
The
Ian, you're a dead
resemblance,
ringer for Johnny
yeah,
Depp. Mate.
the resemblance is
Yeah.
uncanny,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Lady
I can
Stumble.
feel the table strangely turning here.
Right, before we head off, because we're getting near the end, I've got a few more comments that I want to read out.
Yeah, go.
And
Um,
let Sue get any information she needs to.
Yes, we
get
need to
across.
get any more information. So I got from Matthew Ellis. I was told Lawless was a much friendlier convention. The first one I went to
Where are you
started
at
with someone finding Glenn Fabry's glasses and shoes from the night before. Much hilarity ensued. That
I
sounds about
remember
right.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like Glenn.
Yeah, love Glenn to bits. From Lawrence, McMahon, Bolland, Fabry, Langley, all in the same place. Thumbs up. Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
it's
It
gonna
is a
be
great
awesome.
guest list. Anna Morozova is a great call. New is
Yeah.
good
Looking forward
as
to meeting
well.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, Anna's lovely. Yeah, fantastic guest and very talented. Lovely style to her work. We had her on the show.
Yeah, no, I really-
I think
Couple of weeks ago.
it was for
2
the
weeks
Pandora
ago.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, we looked at some of her work and absolutely fantastic.
Speaking of it, what's the time? Isn't the Pandora one ending soon?
It is coming towards its end, and I give it a little plug in the intro. But if anyone is watching and they want to get their hands on Pandora, make sure you do, guys, because it's
Go for it.
going to be
Yeah.
a great book.
Amazing art in that.
Barry,
Who are my drumming
question.
idols?
Yeah, who are your drumming idols? Sue?
Idols. And now I've got to remember names. Crap.
Just go for bands.
Go for
Yeah.
bands.
Yeah.
Name the bands and I'll tell you who the drummer is.
I'm a Van Halen fan, I have to say. I
He's
am a
got
Van
Tom
Halen
Thompson
fan.
drummer.
Van
Drummers.
Halen. So Van Halen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
Van Halen, basically. Yeah. I played also. I like swing jazz as well, like proper 40 swing jazz.
Wow.
And stuff like that. I do like a lot of 80s rock, so that's kind of my go-to when I'm learning to play stuff, is a bit of 80s rock. And
What was
stuff
the
like
hair
that.
rock, like the big stuff, the big hair.
Yeah. I'm learning Def
Oh,
Leppard
Tommy
and Bon
Lee,
Jovi
then.
at the moment. Sorry.
Oh right.
Tommy Lee then.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Tommy Lee's an immense drummer.
He's insane. Yeah, I'm still working up my double bassness at the moment. I'm crap at that, and yeah, I've not quite got me speed up for stuff like that. But yeah.
So if
I think,
just as an aside,
mm,
if you like your 80s metal and stuff,
yeah,
the stuff I'm doing at the moment, the Tiger Tails drummer's playing it.
cool.
There you go. There you go. I love bringing
Yeah,
people
it's great, isn't
together
it?
on this show. It's great.
Yeah, I used to do Van Halen tribute with the Tiger Tails drummer,
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
really?
and the singer was Rocky Shades from Rothschild.
Bloody hell.
Epic. Oh no, my achievement. I knew when my sort of song that I really wanted to learn to play when I first started learning to play the drums was Panama, and I finally cracked it recently. It's taken
It's not
years,
easy
but,
stuff, is it?
Oh,
no, it's
wow.
not. No, it's good to play though. But yeah, no, it's really, really good to play. And yeah, I'd like to. I definitely want to get to. I play a lot of random songs at the moment because it's all down to sort of my skill levels. I've only been playing sort of about 5 or 6 years, so it's very much attuned to my specific level. So I do play a lot of random whatever it is on YouTube that I like the sound of. Like, oh yeah, I can have a go at that, go kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not quite at the stage where I can play a whole band's worth of songs, kind of thing.
That's why you need to be in a band, you see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to actually do
give it
like a
practice.
set list or
There's
something.
nothing like it for honing your skills because you sort of play off against each other, and it really does sort of move you along at quite a pace when you've got other people sort of knocking you. So for the show, if people want to get tickets, I assume they are still available, or is it just pay on the door now?
We're not paying on the door at all, so there's no
Right.
tickets available on the door at all this year.
Okay.
It's all advanced sales. We've got about 20, possibly less than that, probably down to about 15 now, weekend and Saturday tickets left.
Wow.
We're being very careful about how we're spreading it out because we want to make sure we've only got a specific limited amount of people, which is only about 250 people, 300 over the weekend. So we're having to sort of limit how the tickets are spread out, who's got the weekends and who's got the Saturdays and who's got the Sundays and stuff like that. We got a lot of Sundays left over. Sunday's definitely going to be the quieter day out of the two, which will be nice. I think everyone's going to have stonking hangovers.
Yeah. It's tradition at cons for the Sunday
exactly.
to chill out. Yeah.
So I think Sunday will be great as well. So there's definitely Sunday tickets left, but Saturday and weekends are nearly sold out. We've got about 15 left. Wow. You can get them from lawlesscomiccon.com, the website. The link's on there to get them. And yeah, that's ready to go, really.
That's your lot, yeah. And you've
got sold out. There's no trader tables left. We only had 10 because again we're spreading everybody out to try and sort of social distance a little bit more. So artists aren't going to be crammed into one room. They're going to be spread out over a wider area. So we only sold 10 trader tables. So they're going to be intermixed with everybody else a little bit more this year to try and ease up the spacing and make it a little bit easier to move around.
Cool. I'm sure those tables just went like that, didn't they? If it's just 10.
Yeah, I'm still getting messages now from people saying if anyone cancels, can I have first dibs? And it's nobody cancels, I'm afraid.
Oh yeah, it's that's always the thing, isn't it? You don't want to turn people away, but you've only got so much space, and it seems it doesn't matter how many tables you have. There's always going to be people like a few days before the show get in touch and say, you got any tables? Can you fit me in?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Can you squeeze me in a little bit? No.
Just can't do it. But there you go. But there's lots of cons now over the year, so no one really has to miss out today.
I thought Bubble's just gone live, isn't it?
Yeah,
it has indeed. I've been seeing all the posts, people saying I'm in Thought Bubble, and then an equal amount of people saying I can't get into Thought Bubble.
Yeah.
We literally only had the announcements on what day is it? It's Thursday today. So maybe Tuesday we got the emails or something like that.
Yeah. So you're going to be there, Ian?
I am, for my sins.
You might see you there. I might go this year.
Yeah, I would. It's worth going. Well, it's worth going just for the fact that Gail Simone's going to be there.
There you go.
She was supposed to be doing last year's, but couldn't make it because it was still an issue with international travel and so on.
And did you say, Sue, that you'd not been to Thought Bubble?
No, I've not. No, it's usually clashed with something or something else has been going on. So yeah, it's November, isn't it?
It
Yes,
is.
November.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it's always cashless
12th to
something.
14th, something like that.
Yeah, it's
I
usually
think
around
I
that
do,
time.
I do Bristol cons, so it's sort of a bit much to try and fit in that time of year, essentially, and trying to get the time off and stuff. So yeah, I tend to do.
It's
but yeah, no,
frustrating, isn't it, when you want to go to a con, but as an organizer, if you've got a con near that time, you just
Yeah.
cannot afford the time to away from organizing to go and enjoy the
do
con.
the
You know,
old thing,
it's,
At some point, I should make the effort to go there actually because it is huge.
it's worth going. It's worth going
Yeah.
and just, you know, and
Even it's just a network and say hi to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I used to exhibit there as a publisher, and then realised that I got a lot more out of it just going as a punter and just enjoying it.
Yeah.
When you're stuck behind a table, you can't talk to people the same way. You know?
I'd very much done that for years up until last year, and it'd been my very first year of exhibiting last year.
And it went well for you, didn't it, Ian?
You could say that, yes. Yeah. Do you know what it was? And the main success of it that it was down to selling dread pages. There was
really?
just people clamoring for original dread art, because I think there was me, Tom Foster, Steve Austin, and maybe one other person who hopefully forgive me for forgetting them, that were there as a 2000 AD representative, if you like. So people were just like clamoring for stuff, and a bunch of people I know that I met there for the first time, albeit Lawless.
Cool.
Fantastic. I love the cross-pollination.
Yeah.
As I was talking about, at the beginning of the show, I was sort of jesting, we've got someone from another convention on, and but within the comic conventions arena, it's a lot more of that, isn't it? A lot of cross-pollination, helping each other out, helping each other promote, and generally like working together to try and promote comics.
But I think especially those smaller, if you like, more comic centric shows. They're always the more friendlier shows, the more enjoyable shows.
Well, I keep hearing that Lawless is the friendly show. You know what I mean? That's the reputation you're getting, Sue.
That's awesome to know. That's good to know.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about before we head off? Sorry.
What else have we got? No tickets at the door, so we said that. Cosplay is very welcome. Everyone loves, as I say, it's always 2000 AD kind of dread centric, so the more unusual the costume, the better, but it's always great to have judges along, so come up with your amazing cosplays and stuff. Please don't beat everyone up with giant foam swords, but you're all welcome to.
Joe Alexander will be there, so there'll be guaranteed to be some interesting cosplay.
Come and join in on the John Wagner auction. So we're giving away the 1995, or we're auctioning off the 1995 Judge Dredd script with comments from John Wagner about his thoughts on the script, along with a few other goodies on the day. So come and bring some extra pocket money to come and spend on the auction, because that'll be happening at 5 o'clock on the Saturday afternoon. So yeah, come and join in on that and see if you can win yourself a screenplay, which will be awesome. We're doing some goodie bags and merchandise on the day. So if you want to buy t-shirts and hoodies and baseball caps and stuff, head on over to lawlesscomiccon.com or co.uk. I can't remember our website now.
One of them will work.
I'll put it in the link somewhere. But yeah, we're selling all our t-shirts and stuff online this year. There won't be t-shirts at the show because we just don't have the facility for that. So go and buy all your t-shirts, hoodies and stuff and wear them to the show because it'll be good to see you. But we will be doing a few goodies and bits and pieces and some goodie bags when we get there. And come and support the 77 because the 77 are going to be having their whole, most of their sort of creative team will be there as well, giving away some goodies, and Pandora and the 77 showing off some copies and the annual and things like that. So yeah, come support all the artists doing that as well. It'll be really good.
Brilliant. It's good to know you've got a good indie presence there. I really like that.
No, I do like sort of promoting the indie side of things as much as the mainstream stuff. It's really good to, and the fact that we've got, the 77 are producing a custom program comic for us this year is insane. So they've got all the artists producing an individual panel to produce a story to go as our program. It blows my mind that that's a thing that's happening.
That's really cool. I really like that.
Lawless is having its own Lawless comic.
It's brilliant. It needs to be a tradition that every year, you know, it might be that maybe you get a publisher each year to do something like that. That would be really cool. Yeah, I really
That would
like
be
that.
very cool. Yeah.
And Ian, is there anything
Yes,
that you
mate.
want to plug before we disappear into the ether?
Not that I think of. I'm
Not allowed to tell
no,
us.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I was just
See what
thinking
we're
of
working
I was just thinking of a polite way of putting it. I was going to say balls deep, but that'll do. In a lot of things at the moment, that I'm kind of halfway through stuff. So,
Yeah.
like people know unthinkable stuff, and then I've got a new anthology story that I've got coming out. That's a Western thing. That's back with Joe Fairbairn, who I did Noble Causes with. That people will know from Titans and New Warriors and things like that. I'm about to start another thing, which is a British comics related thing, but I can't say.
Can't talk about it.
And then I'm just starting to design stuff for another book with another British creator. And I can't tell you about that. But
I'll
my
get used
next,
to you anyway.
I know, yeah. It's like really helpful having me here, isn't it?
You're busy though, Ian, aren't you? That's the main thing. What we're hearing is you are busy with multiple projects, which is wonderful to hear.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
it's definitely
most
good news.
importantly is my next Dread is out about a week or 2 weeks before Lawless.
Oh,
cool.
So it'll be magazine.
Is that in the magazine? Is it?
Yeah, in the magazine,
Yeah.
444, which is it's a follow-on story from a Rob Williams. I think it was a Rob Williams and Jake Lynch story, and that was about Atlantis. So it's called Judge Dredd Qtopia. So that will literally be out about 2 weeks before Lawless.
That sounds cool.
And that's about me done.
Well, there you go. And of course, you have got an art book out. You did a very, very successful Kickstarter, didn't you, Ian?
Yeah, that did seem to go quite well.
Yeah.
So that was my very. Thank you. That was my.
And is that still available? Can people still pick that up?
Yes, I have a bedroom full of boxes.
That's why I don't see t-shirts.
So yeah, I should probably. I'm sure I'll bring some with me to Lawless and whatever.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
It's got a nice 2000 AD section with various bits and pieces from everybody through Dread through to Sam Slade and Rogue Trooper.
Fantastic.
Ooh.
Okay. Well, we have reached the end of the hour. In fact, we've gone a little bit over, but that's cool. So I would like to say a massive thank you to both Sue and Ian, and eventually Ollie.
I told you.
I've been here for about 20% of the time, haven't I?
Yeah.
No, I told you, didn't I? Diva makes an entrance.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
This is everyone's about to go. Yeah, I know my place.
Well, it's good to see you, mate. Anyway, it's always good to see you. And thank you guys again for coming on. It's been really good to chat to you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in May at the.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys. It's going to be a really great weekend.
Looking forward to it.
Really, really
6
well.
weeks.
Yeah, it's not. It'll soon come round. It'll soon come
Shut
round.
up.
Hey, I'm just looking at the commissions and stuff that I've got to do and get ready.
Oh, no.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Rev yourself
Nothing
up.
up for a tank girl.
just drop that one out there.
Well, have a great evening, guys. See you there.
Thanks for having us, mate.
Thank you very much for having us. See you soon. Bye.
problem.
All the best.
Bye.